Welcome to the continuing session of evaluation, feedback and rewards, which is a continuation of the chapter 10, the earlier discussion we are having on what is evaluation, what is the importance of feedback given and what are the rewards. In feedback, one of the important discussions nowadays which is very prevalent, which is about 360-degree feedback, which is taken from all possible stakeholders who are connected with the person doing the job, and not only from the supervisor per se, but also from the colleagues, from the customers, from the subordinates and others. So, and it is a way of arriving at a like holistic approach towards how the person is doing a particular job. But in that, a word of caution is like 360-degree feedbacks could be used as a weapon by others if they want to give negative feedback about a particular person performing a certain task. So, we have to be very honest and caring while we are giving any feedback about a particular person, because the motive of that feedback, the use for which that feedback is put through, is for the development purpose of the individual and for the like so that he can perform with the learning from the feedback, like how he is performing and how where he needs to improve. That person can actually the person about whom the feedback is given can actually improve on his performance and like can, and his potentials for future development can be nurtured, which adds to the growth of the individual and to the further performance of the better performance of the organization. So, one of the words like we should be very careful about is giving we should be very responsible. We should be very responsible while we are giving feedback about someone, and we should be very genuine in the feedback that we are giving, and should not and ethical in the feedback that we are giving, and not take it as a way to like shower our vengeance if we have against somebody. And we should judge the performance of the individual and not try to overshadow the feedback with maybe the personal relationships that we may be having with the particular individual, which may be good or bad. And we should judge the performance and try to give honest feedback about the performance of the individual, which will help that person to improve in whatever he is doing. With that idea, we move to what are rewards in the organization and what are the different types of rewards given in the organization, how to fit it those rewards to the individual's needs, and how to make the rewards more meaningful to individuals. What are the theories based on which rewards are given in the organization, and what can be done to improve the way reward is given in the organization. The present discussion is centered around the types of rewards given in the organization. So, if we may see like rewards given in the organization can be of extrinsic and intrinsic in nature. So, when we are talking of extrinsic rewards, these are rewards given from outside the person, and so these are very, some primary ones are of course salary, and then fringe benefits, and then interpersonal rewards and promotions. So, what we can do is we try to classify this according to the whether these are like direct or indirect, and how do you get those rewards from the organization. So, if we try to classify remuneration, if you are trying to classify remuneration, because that is what we want as a reward from the organization. It can be classified into broad two types, which is like financial and non-financial. Now, this financial remuneration can again be classified into four broad types, which are like hourly or monthly rated, which we call wages and salary. It can be incentives, what we get like for performing a job, and it is directly related with the performance. So, these are based on, we have individual plans for job done individually and group plans for job done in group, and we can tell these two are direct remuneration or rewards. Then we have what is called fringe benefits. So, in this the major thing is like PF, gratuity, medical care, then accident relief, then health and group insurance, etc. We also have perquisites, which are given according to the status that you are in the organization, and it is mainly given to executives. It's a like company car. Then you have club membership, paid holidays, then furnished house, stock options, etc. And this we can call to be like indirect, like the indirect things that we receive from the organization. And in non-financial, we have like the job context, like challenging job, then your recognition, responsibility, then supervision, working condition, job sharing, etc. So, like if you can see from here, like what is the difference between, like when you are talking of a financial incentive and a non-financial incentive, is that in the these parts, in that if you are now trying to classify what you find over there, this working condition, job sharing, then this recognition, these are, along with these whole things given over here, these are parts of extrinsic rewards, like job sharing, and maybe talk of promotions and all these things. These are parts of extrinsic rewards given as a part of the job that you are doing, and this comes from outside, and it's outside the individual and outside the job that you are doing. Now, when we talk of intrinsic rewards, intrinsic rewards are self administered by the person. It provides like a sense of satisfaction to the individual, or a gratification, and it is often a sense of pride for doing a job well. So, like you see, like it is a classification, all the 4 things like completion, it's a like it's a ability to, like you feel, it's a happy feeling that you get from inside, like when you are able to start and finish a project or job. So, you achievement is when you give a reward to yourself, maybe a 1 day off when you have achieved a certain target. So, this is what you set for yourself, it is not the organization is what is providing to you. Then maybe you go for autonomy, like when you are talking of here as a responsibility, and when it is a challenging job, all these things are like you are able to face a challenging job, you are taking responsibility of certain aspects of the job, and you are able to decide on yourself about important decisions about the job. So, this amounts to the autonomy present in the job, and you are able to do it without very close supervision. And also, like when you are talking of personal growth, you are expanding your capabilities via the job. So, in one sense, job sharing is also a part of intrinsic motivation that you are giving to you, that you are getting from the job by the capabilities that are being expanded as a part of the job that you are doing. So, while we are talking of the theories, the approaches behind, like how you decide about when a reward is actually rewarding. So, 3 theories are guiding it mainly, and there are 3 approaches to it. The main is that of reinforcement theory. So, it is based on operant conditioning learning, where what happens, like if you perform a behavior, if you perform certain task and you get a reinforcement, a reward for it, there is a tendency to repeat that particular task with the same intensity that you have done it earlier, and that behavior of yours get reinforced. So, what you can try to do over here is to make a person repeat a positive behavior by giving a positive reward, and not to repeat a behavior which is not wanted by the organization by giving some punishment as a consequence. And in reinforcement, the operands are behaviors that can be like controlled by manipulating the consequence of that action following it. So, you can see like there are 4 types of reinforcements happening. Like a positive reinforcer is a stimulus which, when added to the situation, strengthens the probability of a desired behavioral response. A negative reinforcer is which, when removed after a response, increases the frequency of that response. Punishment is which giving a very undesirable or uncomfort consequence for a particular behavior, like demotion, termination, etc. So, but it is a very controversial topic, like whether it should be used without any caution, and because it may have long term consequences, unintended consequences. extinction is reduces unwanted behavior by withholding positive reinforcement from a learned response. So, these are the 4 ways like how reinforcement works in organization. What happens by scheduling the timings of rewards or punishment, we are able to motivate people. So, in continuous reinforcement, what happens? So, it is reinforcing a behavior each time it occurs. In intermittent reinforcement, what we do, reinforcing after some expression of behavior, but not after every situations, or not every behavior. So, what happens, that surprise factor is there and you remain all. So, it actually acts as a reward, because you do not know like when your reinforcement is going to come, and as a result there is no lag in performance. You always try to perform at a desired level, so that like you do not know when the reinforcement is going to come, and so if you are always ready to perform and there is no lag in performance, which happens in when it is a continuous reinforcement schedule, because you know like whether you perform or not to perform, after a certain point of time the reward is going to come. So, that is the difference between when you are talking of continuous and intermittent reinforcements. So, in intermittent reinforcements again, like we can have, it is like fixed intervals, like reinforcing my desired behavior. It could be again intermittent and behavioral. It could be like 4 different types. Fixed interval, reinforcing a desired behavior after a certain period of time. Then variable is reinforcing at some variable time interval. Fixed ratio is reinforcing after a fixed number of desired behavior. So, and variable ratio reinforcing after a number of desired responses, with the number varying around an average. So, all these factors have its pros and cons. Obviously, like when the ratio is too much, the interval is variable in nature, though it maintains, like it keeps you on your toes like to perform, but again because you do not know like when it is coming, it may be leading to some stress and insecurity feelings also, because you cannot plan your things, because you do not know when you are going to get your rewards, and you like if this rewards is like, if you do not have any fixed part of your income and everything is very variable in nature, then you cannot plan for yourself, your budgeting cannot be done, like how to expend, where to expend when you get your rewards and all these things. So, it should be a mix and match of these 4 approaches to design a desirable reinforcement for a particular person. It has something has to be fixed in nature and something could be variable in nature to maintain the motivational aspect of the reward system, but something has to be given as a basic thing, which is based on a continuous nature. So, we have to think on like what portion of continuous and what portion of variable and intermittent in nature, so that there is a sense of security, and maybe it is not like over secured feeling you are getting, but again you are able to perform and be motivated. So, we have to be like more prudent while we are trying to do a mix and match of these 4 ways of reinforcing and giving rewards. So, another important part of rewards is like how people get rewards is by, and what they value as rewards is employees, they acquire desired behaviors by observational learning or imitation from others. So, what generally it is like the society gives you the feedback as what is rewarding to you. So, then those things you start valuing as a reward. Next is of course like which is called the expectancy theory, in which there what you do is in expectancy, it's based on the VIE theory of Vroom and Porter and Lawler, who extended it. It's like you take an effort for certain things, and you know, like your effort will lead to certain performance, and your performance will be leading to certain rewards from the organization, and that reward will give you a feedback about whether you are a good performer or not, whether your efforts have led to your performance or not. So, with that expectancy, like if you are working very hard, if you are performing well, then you get a reward from the organization. So, you have to make people realize the connection between the performance and the reward. And very important point about this expectancy theory is that, like, we have to identify the desired rewards for the people, because all rewards do not really are not accepted in the same way by every people, or to said in terms, clear terms, like every reward that you get is actually not rewarding for everyone, because they have their own perception based on their own needs and aspirations and backgrounds, and maybe societal feedback, like what is actually rewarding for them, and maybe the other roles that they play in the organization help them to value one thing more than the other as a particular reward. So, and then what we have to do is we have to make these things available for people, like what they value as reward. And also what we can do is like as we cannot always provide like the particular thing a person desires as a reward, maybe it's not possible for all managers to provide it, then we may try to increase the number of desirable, like we increase the desirability of a particular reward to the individual, like, so that if you are not able to give reward A, maybe reward B is what that person can expect from the organization, and we have to increase the desirability of the reward B to a particular person. So, the manager's job is to like identify the reward, make it available, and to increase the horizon of what the person will love to get as a reward. So, we have to make a study and find out what all is what that person expects and what we can provide. So, we have to make a combination of those things from the organization. Next, another of the theory is, of course, like the agency theory, on which this principle is based, where we take like the there are diverse interests of the stakeholders, and the way that the employee is remunerated like can be used, can be aligned with the interest of the stakeholders. So, here employees are the agents and of the principal, who is the employer, and their relationship is that of an agency relationship, and the cost that is there for maintaining that employee is called the agency cost. And we have to see like how to, like, through what way we can best reward an employee through different plans present in the organization, through variable like reward management techniques, so that the employee functions best as the agency of the principal, who is the employer of the organization. So, what we have to decide over here is, like, while rewarding employees, is 4 aspects of it, like what to pay, like whether there is internal versus external equity. Now, when you're talking of external versus internal equity, is when internal equity is when the employee is perceiving the fairness of payment based on the different jobs present in the same organization. When we are talking of external equity, it is like the person is looking outside the organization and trying to find out how far that person is fairly paid based on how other organizations are paying that particular job. And there is another aspect of this equity, which is individual equity, where we try to compare with others in the same organization who are doing the same type of job that I am doing, and we then try to find out whether we have been fairly treated and equitably paid or not. Though in this the perception of equity, as I've already discussed earlier, depends on the equity sensitivity of the particular person who is trying to view this equity, and it depends on like whether if he is a benevolent or equity sensitive, or he is the entitled in nature. The way he interprets this, what to pay and how much to pay, will be somewhere dependent on his ways of interpreting what is paid to the employee. But these are like generally people compare based on the internal equity, external equity, and the individual equity as per what is organization is going on. And when this equity is considered, then the organization may have a plan to pay above the market rate, below the market rate, or at par the market rate, which may have different consequences for the organization, and different strategic decisions has to be taken by the organization if it decides to pay above the market, below the market, or at par with the market rate. So, some organizations which are paying above the market rate may be able to attract best talents, and based on emergency situations they do pay above market rate to get the best talent pool from the market. Some organizations, like they purposefully pay below the market rate and they outsource certain types of jobs as a part of their HR policies. So, it depends on the strategic decisions taken by the organization, like whether they will maintain the equity and like internal and external equity, and to what extent they are going to do it. Internal equity is again like we get to know from a related concept to it is of course the pay secrecy that you maintain, whether you maintain a transparency, and we get to know, like when you are talking of individual equity and internal equity, what others get paid for doing the same type of job, or can we compare with the other hierarchies what they are getting and what I am getting. Means whether there is a transparency or whether there is a secrecy where we do not get to know like what others are getting, and what we get to know is only the average figure. So, we do not get to know the exact figure what others are getting. So, it depends entirely on the policy of the organization, how they are going to decide about all these things, and like what do they pay to their employees. Next, when we are talking of how to pay, and there are different examples of it which we will be discussing, like piece rate, merit based bonuses, profit sharing, gain sharing, employee stock ownership plan, skill based. These are some of the examples given. Then what benefits to offer in terms of flexible benefits, then how to recognize employees. Then these are 4 aspects which are of concern for people while they are thinking of how to reward their employees. And types of rewards in the organization are based on certain aspects like membership and seniority in the organization, the job status that one holds in the organization, then or it is based on competencies that you have and the performance that you show in the job. So, these are 4 ways of designing your rewards, and each having its own positives and negatives. And what you can do, you can have a mix and match of these techniques to design something which is more motivating for the employees. So, we see like the types of rewards in the workplace are based on these 4 main factors: membership and seniority, job status, competencies and performance. And if you see like there is a, and why we have to be more concerned about these factors, because these may, like if somewhere, if you are having a type of reward in your organization which is not matching with the needs of the people in the organization, is that is how do they want the reward to be, then it may lead to certain dissatisfactions in terms of like satisfaction with the reward, and it may lead to certain negative organizational behaviors like absenteeism, strike, lower productivity, less of commitment, and all these factors. So, it is very crucial for designing a proper reward system for the people within the organization. So, different ways of rewarding employees are like, one is the variable pay programs, where a portion of the employee's pay is based on some individual and like or some organizational measure of performance. So, the variety of it could be like piece rate plans, where workers are paid a fixed sum for each unit of production completed. So, after you produce certain amount of, then you are going to get a certain amount, you are going to get a fixed sum. And the thing over this thing, one of the negatives of this would be like, while you are paying for the piece rate pay plans, so it is to some extent motivating, because it's and rewarding, because it's connected with the number of pieces that you like produce. But again, we have to check on the quality, like in the hurry, that no wastage is done, and we have to be concerned about like the waste produced also. So, like in a hurry to produce more within a short span of time and get more based on the number of pieces that we are producing, we have to take into consideration the reduction in waste also. So, that is one of the issues where we need to be really careful about. Next is when you are talking of profit sharing plans. So, this is an organization wide program that distribute compensation based on some established formula designed around a company's profitability. So, the positive of this is that this plan is that it is connecting employees' performance with the organization's performance, and if the organization performs better and it earns a profit, then that gets distributed towards to all employees who have contributed towards gaining that profit. So, it is good in one sense, it is making a connection between employees' performance and organization's performance, but again it is somewhat uncertainty, a factor of uncertainty is there, and variable, the degree of variableness may be too high, in the sense like if your compensation is depending on the company's profitability, then what happens if the profit goes up, you get more more as a reward, but if profit comes down, then your reward is curtailed, and that leads to certain sort of stress on the part of the employee, because he cannot really know like what he is getting as an actual figure every time, and it can be fluctuating based on organization's profitability, which may be of some sort of stress for the employee. When we are talking of flexible benefits, so here flexible benefit means employees tailor their benefit programs to meet their personal needs by picking and choosing from a menu of benefit options. So it is again of two three types. Like first the core plus plans, where you get a core of essential benefits and menu like selection of other benefit options. And B is when we are talking of modular plans, it's pre-designed benefit packages for specific groups of employees. And C, when you are talking of flexible spending plans, means allow employees to use their tax-free benefit dollars to purchase benefits and pay service premiums. So what you see over here, like while we are talking of flexible benefits, it's advantageous in one sense, like it's a tailor-made for meeting employee needs. An employee can choose their own benefits, and which is more motivating for them, which is more rewarding for them, because I choose the benefit which suits my purpose. But again, then it is a very in-depth task and a very challenging task for the organization to have so many benefits in place and to provide for so many benefits which may differ from employee to employee, and it's a really challenging task for an organization to provide different benefits and a combination of different benefits which is going to suit a particular person's need. So an organization must be working very hard on that aspect. When we are talking of innovative reward systems, we are talking of something which is called like the skill based pay plans, where where pay levels are based on how many skills employees have or how many jobs they can do. Clear demonstration of the job, clear demonstration of the skill acquired in that particular job may result in pay increase. So some of the important advantages of this are like it provides you like your staffing flexibility, because you are getting more multi-skilled, you are providing staff flexibility to assign workers to different jobs. So it requires fewer job classifications, requires fewer employees, then facilitates communication across organization. So it lessens like the protection of charity, like this is my job and I will not allow others to learn sort of attitude on the part of the employees. So it again meets the need of the employees for advancement and leads to performance improvements and may reduce turnover and absenteeism. These are the positives that we have about skill based pay plan, but it has several drawbacks also which are important, like what may happen if it gets established, the skill based pay plan. So it you may lack in additional learning opportunities that will increase employee pay later on, and then we may continue to pay employees for skills that has become obsolete in nature. We may be paying for skills that are of no immediate use for the organization, and what we are actually doing is we are paying for a skill, but we are not very sure like whether even if the skill is acquired by the employee, it will lead to a particular level of performance which will be rewarding for the organization and improve organization's performance. So, what we are actually doing is we are paying for the skill itself, but not for the demonstration of the skill in as far as performance is concerned. So, these could be the drawbacks of skill based pay. Other innovative things could be like broadbanding, which involves reducing numerous pay grades to a relatively few broadband grades, which gives you an gives you about knowledge about the different aspects of the job, and it's you can learn many skills out of it, and in that sense it becomes satisfying for you. And then you get like concierge services, a variety of benefits from tracking down tickets to an event to messages and other lavish services. So, these are only very few companies have these services for their employees, and it's very costly also for the organization to maintain all these things. Now, when we are moving to jobs which are performed in a group, and we are trying to focus on team based rewards. So, what is done is paying all members of a team equally based on the outcome performance of the entire team's work. Now, see, this can lead to certain problems, like when we are talking like we will be paying equally all the team members for the outcome of the performance of the entire team. So, if all are performing at the same level, then it could be rewarding, or but if it is that some employees or some team members are performing and others are not, and then what happens, it may lead to a feeling of dissent amongst the team members, like someone who is working hard to get the team performance is getting the same as someone who is taking the advantage of the team situation, which we call is social loafing, but still when it comes to be recognized and getting the reward, he is getting the same thing as that of the per person who is performing for the team. So, paying them all equally could be sometimes demotivating for the actual performer in the team. Part-time benefits. So, what happens in part-time benefits, due to the shortage of talent, more employers are now relying on part-time employees, and they are now provided with many benefits that which earlier only full-time employees used to get, like sick leave and paid vacations and all these things. So, when you are talking of gain sharing, it provides employees with a share of the financial benefits that the organization accrues from improved operational efficiencies and effectiveness. So, it is based on the group productivity, and it then it determines like how the total amount of money is to be allocated. So, the difference between gain sharing and this the difference between this gain sharing and your profit sharing plans over here. If you can see it in profit sharing, it depends on the profitability and then it gets distributed, while in gain sharing it is the group productivity and then you get benefits according to that productivity. Another is employee stock ownership plans, in which the companies contribute stock or cash to purchase stock to the employees. So, employee stock ownership plans is a company established benefit plan in which employees acquire stock as a part of the benefits. It is typical allocation which is based on seniority. So, more senior you are in the organization, you get an opportunity to buy company stock and to at a like lower price, and which you can then sell later on and get your reward out of that. So what happens over here? Again, like if you see this picture, this we can classify these rewards into individual level rewards, team rewards and organizational rewards. And what we see, one important part which is mentioned in team rewards and individual reward is bonuses that we get. Now, bonus is generally given for your based on your performance, like and based on like the profitability of the organization. But sometimes what it happens, like if the bonus is given very regularly at a certain point of time, maybe before puja you get a bonus and all these factors. So what happens is you take it to be a granted sort of thing that you are entitled to get. People take it as a bonus, no longer bonus acts no longer as a bonus, but mentally it gets added to their pay structure, and it really doesn't remain as a rewarding, as the rewarding aspect of it, the motivational aspect of it is somewhat lost, and it becomes a part of their entitlement. And sometimes what happens in terms of bonuses, specifically in terms of executive bonuses, like a huge amount of the organization's money goes like while paying bonuses for the executive level. So we have to take into consideration like whether to pay bonuses, whom to pay bonuses for, and of what percentage and what amount. So these are certain of the certain your aspects of your rewards given in the organization, and some other ways of rewarding employees which is more intrinsic in nature, which really doesn't cost you much, is like employee recognition program. So in a employee recognition program, it is intrinsic reward which stimulates intrinsic motivation. So here personal attention is given to an employee, then appreciation for approval and appreciation is given for doing a job well. Then so it's it can be done in many ways. So you can have a company formal recognized recognition program where you declare the best employee of the particular period, then there is your name gets your name and your photograph, you see it on the company like a specific place where you find like your photograph has been given and you find like you are recognized for it. You get like encouraging mails from your boss telling like you have done your job well and your performance really matters for the organization. So this can be done in a very formal way of doing it, or it could be one to one, like you so you get like some sealed envelope in your table which speaks of how the boss values your performance. So there are various ways of recognizing an employee's performance, and like the benefits of these recognition programs are to fulfill employees' desire for recognition. So it is inexpensive in its to implement, and it encourages repetition of a desired behavior. So, but the drawback of this program, again the drawbacks are that it could be susceptible to manipulation by the management. So, what it can because I want to utilize you for a particular job and I cannot pay you much, I cannot reward you much, for the time being I just recognize you, and so that because it will act as a Pygmalion effect, I'll like somewhere like that recognition makes you to perform well and I get the better performance for the organization, and then I do not like take care of your quality of work life and all these factors. In that case it is somewhat unethical because I am using the employee and the recognition given as a means to a particular end of getting better organizational performance, and I am not recognizing the employee because I feel like the employee is worth recognizing. So we have to be very cautious about these the intentions with which we use these recognitions programs in the organization. So and like this could be again related the reward management. If it is not done properly in the organization, it may lead to different behaviors in the organization, as we already told, like it may give rise to delay in performance, strikes, grievances, and your dissatisfaction, absenteeism, and all these factors. So we have to be very careful about how we give rewards to employees and how it is well managed in the organization. So the questions following it is like describe evaluation of performance, explain with suitable examples the methods of performance evaluation, also describe performance evaluation feedback, state the 3 approaches of administering rewards in the organization. What are the 4 aspects of rewarding employees? Describe the relationship of type of rewards in the workplace with membership and seniority of employees, job status, competencies, performance. Describe a model of individual rewards. State with examples the different ways of rewarding employees in the organization. State the innovative reward system in the organization. Rewards affect organizational concerns, explain. So, with this we come to the end of this particular lecture, where we have tried to explain what is the linkage of evaluations, performance evaluation, the feedback that you get for the performance that you are doing, and the important role that reward may have in motivating a particular employee. So that when all these things are done properly, what you get is motivated employee who is maybe due to extrinsic or intrinsic reasons, who will love to be within the organization and who will perform, because it leads to both his development and ultimately the organization's development. Thank you.